It's grey, it's very damp, and there's not much happening out in the garden. Not very inspiring? Well, maybe not initially, unless of course you attach one of these, a Ricoh XR7, to one of these, a set of extension tubes or bellows. Now things could be looking different. We're talking macro photography. So I thought I'd just run through very quickly attaching the bellows to the Ricoh XR7. So literally we just have to do what we do when we have a lens, match up the red dial and then rotate, and then the other end we put our lens and do the same thing. And so to extend the bellows, we just, sorry, taking out the screen there, just simply that, and that obviously kind of increases the magnification as such and allows us to get very close to our subject. Regarding exposure, I don't know whether you can see, there is a little lever here that changes the aperture, and by moving that the camera will respond by choosing the correct shutter speed for the aperture we select. And the only thing we've got to make sure is that the aperture that is here is replicated on the actual lens. Otherwise that will cause either overexposure or underexposure. So that's just something to note, that by changing the aperture here, the camera actually exposes correctly, and we just have to make sure that this end we, as I say, correctly align those two apertures. And that's how we use it. So let's see what we can find in the garden. So here we are reviewing the images from the Ricoh XR7 and my little foray out into the garden. And I must say I'm very pleased that I went and did this little project because it's produced some images that I wouldn't have seen or taken. And so looking at the first one here, we have a picture of sort of symmetrical tentacles coming out of this this flower. Do quite like that, I must say. Throughout, although I was using a light meter in addition to the built-in light meter for the camera, and but even so, it's done a good job, I must say. Not sure about this image whether I would print it, but certainly. Next one, the water droplets. Again, it really shows you the narrow band here that's in focus. So unfortunately this one just falls short of super crisp. I do like it, but not quite sharp enough. So I'm going to have to be brutal and say no. Next image was the concrete. I do like this. Noticed a few little bit of hairs that have missed the removal. So let's just do that very quickly. There we go. Yes, I like this very much. In terms of the contrast, again, whether I would print it, not quite sure yet. No, I think this one misses the mark, sadly. Oops, it's come out of screen. The knot in the wooden fence, I'm afraid that's not a very good image. This looks interesting, but it just looks a bit too dark, I feel. Yes, and the fact it's not really in focus either, I think that would be another factor. So again, same problem here. It's just missed the focus slightly. Again, that's my problem, my fault really, because I wasn't on a tripod. I was hand holding that, and at such slow shutter speeds. That's my excuse. I did get that one, I think. Again, I like the contrast. Nice close up. Now we're getting interesting here. Now, unfortunately, this negative has got scratched in some way. So, sadly, as much as I'd like to print this one, I don't think I can with that. I don't think it's going to have to go. Another image that I do like is this one. But again, I'm not sure whether I should have gone for the full flower. I suppose half the flower does create a bit of tension, and it's got such, again, shows you the very narrow band of what's in focus. I'm very tempted to print this one, I must say, but I think I should have just made that a bit more, at least got those in the picture. So I think that might just fall by the wayside, sadly. And again, this one doesn't really work. But I've got this one, and I must say I do like this a lot. Just the soft, again, the very narrow band of focus. So I think in reviewing the images, I think it's going to have to be this one that I will print. So let's go ahead and let's go to the darkroom. Having done my test strip, I've stepped out of the darkroom, and so our test strip, I've done 10-second increments. And there's 5, so that's 10 seconds, 20, 30, 40, 50, and actually I did an extra one here, 60 seconds, so a whole minute. And so we just need to zoom in on this section here, because this is where I think I need to be. So let's just zoom in. So to come back to our test print here, so 10 seconds, 20, 30. I quite like 20 seconds, I do like that quite nicely, but then I think 30 is maybe just a fraction too long. So I think what I'll do is go for something in the middle. So I think we'll go for 25 seconds, and I've got a grade 4 contrast filter left from my previous, and I think I'll stick with that actually, because I quite like with the being a white subject, I would like it really quite defined, the lines of the flower. So that's what I think I'll go for. So in summary, 25 seconds, contrast filter factor of 4, Let's see what happens. So, looking at the image, certainly have pleased with the 25-second exposure. It's produced a nice background, not completely black, but I do like the black areas here around the base of the flower. That's really come out really nicely. I'm really pleased with that, and I do like the way that the flower kind of emerges out of the darkness, which I'm pleased with. And well, a couple of other things that I would like to mention, which you probably can't see, but there's a couple of dust spots now. I noticed, or hairs rather, I noticed these were actually in the negative. So note to self, really must try harder with the dust, particularly the hairs that can sometimes creep in when developing, allowing a strip of film to dry. But otherwise, I'm very pleased with the print. I think it's worthy of sticking on the wall, and well, there we go. So, until the next time.